What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the airport. Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how Bam Adebayo is taking the next step in his career. Make sure y'all drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below, and let's get right into it. So, like I said, this video is going to be about Bam Adebayo. This is mainly based off the Spurs game that just wrapped up tonight, but also based off of the last 6 or 7 games that he's put together in a Heat jersey. Man, he's played unbelievable basketball. And we're gonna be talking about it. We're gonna be talking about how Bam is taking the next step in his career. So as we know, tonight the Heat pulled off a really much needed win against the Spurs, not because we were like bottom of the standings, but because it was a back-to-back. And if we won this game, we'd be in very good position, especially because the Bulls lost tonight. Shout out to the Grizzlies for beating them. And now we have sole possession of the #1 seed. We are half a game above the Bulls, which is a very good sight to see. We needed every point of the 36 that Bam scored. 27 from Jimmy, 27 from Tyler, 13 and 10 from Kyle. It was a team effort, man. It was a team effort, and we started off slow, but we were able to pull out the W in the end. And Bam Adebayo was the best player on the court on both ends of the floor. And just away from this game in general, we're going to be talking about how Bam has to and has already shown flashes of taking the next step as far as elevating his game. The 36 points today on display from every aspect of his game: mid-range shooting, pump fake, one dribble pull-ups, the jab steps, the driving to the rim, drawing fouls, finishing at the rim, catching lobs, dunking on people. He was doing it all. And defensively, don't even get me started. Y'all know I think Bam Adebayo is the best defender in the NBA, and I think that he should be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. I know the games played is going to be a factor. That's a little that's probably the only reason why I don't know if he's going to win the award, but he has to be in the conversation at least, man. The Miami Heat are the #1 seed, anchoring a top 5 defense in the NBA is Bam Adebayo. And, he is doing everything, not just being the rim protector, switching 1 through 5, guarding multiple positions. And if you watched him in this game, man, what he was doing on the defensive end was absolutely ridiculous. And this is what I've been saying since the start of the season. This is the season for Bam Adebayo. By the end of this season, he should be the Miami Heat's best player. I know Jimmy Butler is there. I know Jimmy right now is probably the better player, and it's not a competition. But I think that for the Heat to succeed, Bam is going to have to be the best player on that team on the floor at all times. By being aggressive. I love point Bam. I love playmaking Bam. But when Bam is in scoring mode, man, it's you can't mess with him. Like, no one on that court can guard him. I've been saying this since day one. He's too big for guys who are smaller than him, because I've seen a lot of coaches put smaller guys on him. Jaylen Brown, OG Anunoby are like guys who will guard Bam sometimes. He's too big for them, and then he's too fast for the bigger guys who they put on, like Valanciunas and people like that. Today, Zach Collins, mouse in the house, man. Zach Collins a baby. Bam was bullying him on both ends of the court. So Bam just has to realize that he can dominate. He can dominate so easily, man. The guy is so gifted, talented. Spo even said it himself. He's a future Hall of Fame center. In a point guard, he's a point guard in the center's body, but when he decides to be aggressive, man, it's a wrap. It's an absolute wrap, and that's what he has to do in the playoffs, man. In the playoffs, you're gonna need Bam Adebayo shoot the ball as many times as you need to, man, because you have to be the #1 option on this team for us to be successful. Let Jimmy, if Jimmy wants to play make, he can play make, but we need a guy, we need a go-to scorer. If we need a bucket, who are we giving the ball to? Jimmy Butler has been a little bit iffy in clutch situations this year, and since he's come to the Miami Heat, his percentages in the clutch have not been good whatsoever. He's drawn a lot of fouls, which is why he's made up for it. But we don't have a guy that we put the ball in his hands down the stretch, and we are sure that he's going to get a bucket. Bam has hit a game winner in his career with the Heat. Bam has had a game-winning block against Tatum. So I think this is the time, man. Bam Adebayo, this is your time. If the Miami Heat win a championship this year, and if Bam Adebayo is the best player on the floor, just think about that. Think about how much his stock will increase, man. Because we all know he's a super talented player. Probably top 25 in the NBA already, if not top 30. But I think that, for him to become a top 15 player and take the next step, you got to see him do this consistently, and he has been for these past games. That's why I'm making this video, because it's been noticeable. Like, since that game against the Celtics, where I think we were without Jimmy, we were without Kyle, and we got blown out. We absolutely got our butt kicked by like 20. It was just Bam out there. I'm pretty sure I think Tyler didn't play, or he might have played, but we were shorthanded, and Bam was just the guy on the team. And I think he didn't take that many shot attempts whatsoever. I think he only took like 12 shot attempts, and we got blown out. And since that game, something has switched. A flip has switched in his brain to say, okay, this is unacceptable. This cannot happen again. And since that day, man, he has been on a tear, different level. And I'm super proud of him, man. Like, obviously, I don't think he's watching the video, but if you are, Bam, keep going, brother, because you are absolutely going off. And yeah, since the Celtics game, he's been absolutely going nuts. Tonight, he was incredible on both ends of the floor defensively, man. I cannot understate how important he is to the Miami Heat's defense. A guy who can switch 1 through 5. I know people love Rudy Gobert's analytics, and they love the fact that his defensive win shares and all these advanced stats. I'm not an advanced stats guy. I'm a guy who watches basketball. And what I can tell you is that Rudy Gobert in the playoffs could get taken out so easily. We saw it against the Clippers. The Clippers went small, and the guy just looked lost. You can't take out Bam Adebayo defensively from a series. Now, last year against the Bucks, the thing that was holding him back was his confidence not to shoot the ball, and that was holding him back last year. Against Brook Lopez, he was giving him so much space, and Bam was still hesitant to pull the trigger. This year, and especially these last like 10 or so games, it's been a different level for Bam. The league has woke up scoring Bam, and scoring Bam is the best Bam. And if Bam can realize that all he has to do is score the ball and just take over games on both ends of the court, it's gonna be a wrap. Leave the playmaking to Kyle, leave the playmaking to Jimmy. We have Kyle, who can set people up. He's getting 10 assists per game. Jimmy Butler, if we need to, can get 10 assists per game. But I think Bam has to be the first option on this team moving forward, because he's just too good and he's just emerging. Jimmy can be the second option if you need to. I'm not saying have Jimmy be a spectator, but I'm saying Bam Adebayo has to play with his aggressiveness every single night, because that's what's going to help us succeed. Tyler off the bench can do his thing. He had 27. He had a great game tonight, as he's been doing all season. 6th man of the year, locked that award up right now. And Jimmy Butler, once he's going to decline a little bit. I'm expecting him to decline in a couple years. Bam is going to solidify himself as the best player on this team, but I want him to do it after this season. When the season ends, I want Bam Adebayo to solidify himself as the guy on the Heat. And that's what I'm gonna make this comparison. And it's not gonna be like, y'all might not see the comparison that I'm trying to make, but I said this about the Lakers. Obviously, we know LeBron is 37, and what he's doing at 37 is incredible. But I said for the Lakers to succeed, AD is gonna have to take the step to be the best player. And the Lakers' biggest problem is that LeBron James is still their best player, and is still the guy who has to carry them every single night. Anthony Davis, I know he can't control his injuries, but he has been injured a lot. And when he's been on the court, we've seen a timid version of Anthony Davis. And I think for the Lakers to, take that next step, because their team is not as well-rounded as the Heat is. So that's why they're in the play-in, because their team is not deep, their team is not constructed well, and it's just a misfit. But for this team, for the Lakers to take that next step, Anthony Davis has to be the best player / the number one option on that team, and that's why they're being held back right now, because LeBron has to do everything. For the Heat, I don't want it to be Jimmy and everyone else just watching. I want Bam to be the guy on this team that can take us forward, can be the heart and soul, the engine, the guy who does everything that you need to on both ends of the floor. Jimmy will still be there, obviously. You have Kyle, who can play make. Tyler can be a spark plug, shooters around them. I just think that it's time for Bam Adebayo to take that next jump, and he has done, man. So shout out to Bam. And that's where we're gonna wrap up the video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below about Bam, man. I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up the video there. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Peace.